Welcome back to the channel, cyclists. This is the Bald Bearded Bicyclist, and we are back in the summer of 2023. This is August, and this is my last USAC race of the season. It was the Plan to Peak road race. So let me set the scene a little bit. This is actually a 3-stage race, 2 days, and called the 2 Days of Buffalo, sponsored by Plan to Peak Cycling and put on by the East Aurora Racing Club. But the day before this was Saturday, and there was a TT, and there was a crit, and then this is Sunday with the road race. So I'm actually talking to somebody next to me about how I forgot to film the crit, which obviously I like to bring content to you guys. I had the camera off my bike for the TT because, you know, watts and draft or the aero gains. But I had taken it off and forgot to put it back on for the crit. So wasn't able to capture that. But the TT, I was planning on doing. I had a wattage I wanted to stick to. I'm pretty fatigued. I just got back from Intelligentsia. You saw those videos. This was just the week after that, so I'm a little bit fatigued from all the racing the week before, but hoping to be able to do something here. So in the TT, I think I ended up getting 10th or something like that, but the year before I got 8th and I had a worse time, so I PR'd the TT. I was pretty happy with it. There's just a lot of strong guys came out this year, so you can see there's some attacks going here, and everybody's kind of things are stringing out. This is the 3rd out of 6 laps, and I honestly, it's been a while since this race. I don't remember. I think at some point a couple guys get off the front, but just again about the background here. So the TT went pretty well. The crit, I made a major error. I was actually in really good position the whole race, and I thought that the second to last lap, the with basically 1 to go, was the last lap, and I put out way too much effort to stay right at the front, and then just got swallowed up on the last lap, and I think I ended up coming in like, I don't know, 16th or something like that. Wasn't anything great, but bummer there. Coming into this race, I was in a weird mental state. The race after, the crit after ours, there was a huge crash, and a couple of buddies got very, very injured, and I was just mentally like, I don't know if I even want to race. This year has been crazy. Freedom Run, there was a bad crash. There was a bad crash at the crit. A lot of broken bones, a lot of hurt people in ambulance trips, and the day before was the worst one yet. So I had actually, the night before this race, told a couple of my teammates, like, sorry guys, I think I'm just going to sit this one out. I've been racing a lot this year, and I don't think I need to partake. But you know what? I realized that I had been racing well this year, and I'd feel like I totally missed out if I didn't come out. So last minute decision, I ended up suiting up and coming out to this race. So once I decided that, and I was like, screw it, it's the last big race of the year, I'm gonna do it. I was all in. But it just goes to show you, it's a mental sport, and you really gotta, once you decide to get into the race. Sorry, I was just listening to Mike and I little chat there. So I forget what the wind. I think the wind was coming right to left, and so I was kind of helping shelter Mike here, because I was like, well, I mean, if one of us is going to have to sit in the wind, I might as well block you from it, because people were kind of guttering on the left side here. So I was on the BBC team at this point. If you've seen my last video, I'm now on Project, going into the 2024 season, but this was, again, last year. So I'm riding with the blue, red, and white jersey guys here. But the thing is that there was no one on my team that was really in the running for GC, and there are a few teams that were. So my thought in this race was, the teams that had people in the GC, namely Project. Drew Scott was in the GC, and they had, I think, Pursuit had someone in the GC, and then Kelly Benefits was up there for the GC. So, I was kind of thinking, any major attacks, any solo riders that get off the front, they have to put in work to bring those back if they want to do well at GC. So maybe I have to stop thinking that, because it's Cat 4, and I don't think that a lot of these guys, no offense to them, I think it's just everybody's new, think about strategy as much as I do, at least team tactics, because Cat 4, maybe everybody's out to get their own result, and no one's really willing to sacrifice their own race for a teammate, because everybody wants those upgrade points. And I think once you get to Cat 3, there's a little less of that, and people are comfortable racing in Cat 3 because you can still race 1, 2, 3, so they can take turns, stuff like that, that don't have to worry maybe as much about getting out of the 4-5, which can be a little crazy. So again, maybe I was thinking too much of that, and I think that hurts, because then the teams don't do what you would expect them to do in a higher category, and I'm left not being at an advantage in a situation where a team would have to bring something back. So at the same time, we have a team. I could have spurred us together to try to bring something back. It just, to me, seems silly when we didn't really have a dog in the GC fight. So now we are on the 4th lap, and things are pretty strung out. Everything is kind of keeps coming back together for the most part. I can't even see who's out up front, and again, this race was a while ago, but I know Drew Scott was putting in a lot of attacks, and he was just unfortunately so marked. I think he was in that little group you can see that was off the front there, and people just really bringing him back. There's a bit of a gap here, and looks like these guys are going to close it. So things are strung out. I'm in the wind doing 400 watts. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Not really where I want to be here, but I think I was trying to get close to that group in case I had to jump across. And then as I saw that things were getting brought back together, I decided to kind of drift back and see if I could find myself back in the draft. So let's jump ahead. All right, so we are just through that next turn, and you can see somebody's going off the front here, and I can't tell who that is. I'm actually chatting with somebody next to me to try to find out if somebody is in a breakaway, and there was some confusion. I think that's Devin next to me with teammates, so I think we're confused whether the motorcycle is the front of the race or if there's people that got around the motorcycle and are out. But whoever was on the front just let somebody go, and couldn't even tell who that was at this point. This is probably not where I wanted to be in the race, just a little too far back. And yeah, I think we're chatting about one of the guys that did really, really well in the TT is off the front. So not somebody you want to let get in a breakaway. And no one really seems to be picking up the pace here. So let's jump ahead. So here we actually have Jim from Project on the left here in the red jersey. I think he realized what was going on, that the front was really kind of just soft pedaling and that somebody had gone off the front. So he gets to the front and Drew gets behind him, and they do actually start picking up the pace and working to bring that back. So yeah, good tactics by Project. They knew that they couldn't let that go. And it's kind of on their team to do a little work to bring things back. Gets pretty nice and strung out through that turn, and a little bit of gap in front of me, but there's gap behind me too. Yeah, people really pick it up through that turn. But in a race like this, it's like every turn there's like this big surge, because there's no hills or anything, so you pretty much have to attack after the turns, see if that'll break things up. But Jim did a nice pole, and now he's falling back, and I think spurred somebody on to keep chase here. But it's actually Drew on the front, and so I think that was Life there. I think maybe he was the one that got off the front, and they brought him back, and that was why Jim fell back. Drew's still putting on the power, and he's the one in GC, so he really shouldn't be doing too much work. But I know he's kind of caught in this position because nobody else up there is willing to, and and then when he attacks to try to go, everybody follows him, so he's kind of stuck doing that. So this must be the front of the race because that motorcycle's there, and I believe they brought the rider back that was off. So see what happens next. So this is actually just not very far after. So Jim had dropped to the back, and then he does this nice attack from behind. So that was great. You knew Drew, his teammate, was on the front, setting the pace, and Jim, really nice attack. And obviously Drew's not going to bring it back, so doesn't seem like anybody else really wanted to jump on that. We got my teammate Mike up there, and looks like Tyler from my team is going to go up there, but he didn't really snap up, so I think he's going to he really just kind of gets to the front and starts setting pace, which is great. So we've got some representation from the BBC doing a little bit of work, so that I can continue to sit in a little bit and not have to do much work myself. This is the tightest turn on this course, and I think there is a yellow line rule, but it's a little loose on that corner. But there's always a big surge right after that one that just puts pressure on those that might have been a little bit further back in the pack, and as that accordion effect takes hold into that turn, the back of the pack gets pretty hurt with those little surges. But they don't really keep it on long enough to do too much damage, but that's a good place to really string things out. So we are through the lap, and we're on the second to last lap here. And if you look at the front, there's a rider in a white jersey here who just seems like he just kind of rolls off the front, and nobody wanted to stay with him. I'm not really sure how that happened there, but in a second you'll see that he actually gets a pretty good gap. So already I think he realizes he had a gap, and then he really puts the power down, and that gap grows pretty big pretty quickly. The pack's thinned a bit. I mean, we still got a really big group, but I think we dropped a few people on that last lap there, and doesn't look like the front really wants to bring that rider back yet. Again, I apologize, I don't know who that rider is. This race was a little bit too long ago and a little bit too far back in the pack to be able to see what's going on at the front. But it looks like he's actually coming back now through that turn. Like I said, everybody likes to pick things up a little bit on the turn. And so that rider's coming back. And then we got Life here on the left. I think he decides to go for it again. Let's see when he goes. Yeah, he just goes off. Nice and easy. But sometimes that'll work for you because, you know, this pack has seen him go off the front and get brought back. But what was different the last time is we saw Project get on the front and do a little work, and the guys from BBC got on the front and did a little work and brought him back. And he's actually got a big gap, and then he's got somebody off in front of him who he's willing to put in the work to get to, so that they can work together. Somebody's putting up chase right now because things are getting pretty strung out. There's a lot of swinging back and forth from this rider here, so I think I was looking for an opportunity to maybe get in front of him. You like to know who's in front of you and to know that the moves that they're going to make are ones that you can anticipate. Swinging from one side of the road to the other is not something you want to see be around. I think I'm just swinging to the left to see what's going on, but it looks like things are together. There might be somebody off the front. I don't know when they got off the front, but it looks like that motorcycle is pretty far away. So at some point, someone must have gotten away. But it looks like the other guys got brought back that were kind of stuck in between. So a little bit further, we are through that tight corner, and believe that might be one of the Kelly Benefits riders. No, maybe not. I forget what that other team is. But that guy just attacked, and Tyler was right on his wheel, so he just goes for it. That's he was in good position. And they get good separation, but no one really wants to take a chase right away. I guess it's just, the front here is mainly the guys that were in good contention for GC, and the guys that just attacked were not in GC. So I think there's just not much interest to jump on that and possibly ruin their current race. All right, moving a good bit ahead. This is the last lap on the second to last straight. There's been a lot of shuffling around. There were some attacks. There was most of the stuff got brought back, but at this point, there are a few people that are off the front already. I think it was 2 separate solo breakaways. Maybe more than that. I apologize. You guys can leave in the comments if you remember what went down here. But at this point, I'm trying to stay to the left, get some shelter. The wind here is right to left on this straight, and then it's going to be a headwind going into in the final straight. So I know that final straight is going to be feel a lot longer because of that headwind. So I'm trying to set up and hang out back here, and I have 2 thoughts basically. I don't want to get boxed in because that's happened to me here before, and I don't want to go too early on the final straight because of that headwind. So I want to make sure that I don't get shuffled so far back that I'm already out of the race as the front group goes through the turn. So this is why I'm kind of getting over here, I'm basically like, look, if I got to do a little bit extra work to make sure I'm near the front, I got to do that. That's fine. And then on the final straight, I don't want to go too early. So we are approaching the final turn, and I'm probably taking a lot more wind than I should and doing 400 watts. But again, if you go back to my video from the year before, by the time the people in front were making the turn, I was basically out of the race because they were 7 seconds in front of me. I'm probably still a little bit too far back here, but again, knowing that this final straight is going to act a lot longer because of the headwind, I feel like I've got an opportunity to jump on some wheels and get brought up. So that's what I'm doing, trying to surf some wheels and get a little bit closer without really sticking my nose into the wind too much here. And doing a decent job of it. These guys are working. I'm just kind of hoping that someone from back here jumps maybe a little early, and I see Jacob come flying around me, and so my first thought was to jump on his wheel, and then I remembered that I've kind of gotten burned in races before when I did that because he's not a sprinter. There is a yellow line rule which I was adhering to and didn't think people would be coming around my left side, and I was kind of trapped by this Kelly Benefits rider, so it took me a while to find a path to get through here. At this point, I'm racing, this guy kind of swerves over. We talked it out afterwards, but I was kind of you can hear me yelling. I was just like, hey, once you start sprinting, just try to stay in a straight line. So I got like, I don't know, like 10th in the sprint and 15th overall or something like that. Not great, but overall I think my season I was pretty happy with. I think the main issue with my season was I started off way too strong back in spring. The races at the lake in Ohio, you can check out those races. I was the strongest I've been. I was setting power PRs. I was able to respond to every attack, and I was getting top fives and getting upgrade points. So I was doing great, and then I never really took a break and was racing consistently all season. And then come Intelligentsia, I was pretty beat down, and then this is a week after that. So it was just too much all season, and in 2024, learning from that, I'm going to try to put a mid-season break in there, and we'll see how that works. But fun race, and a lot to learn from myself, just knowing tactically where I need to be and when to unleash the sprint. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.